Hey guys, welcome back. If you are new to my channel, my name is Julie and I post videos on affordable drugstore makeup and beauty. Today I wanted to share with you guys my easy, everyday summer, like my go-to summer makeup look using all drugstore makeup products. I'm sharing with you like my tips and tricks on what I do to keep my foundation and my makeup looking good all day long, like what products I like to use when it's like really hot and humid out to keep my makeup looking like this throughout the whole day until I take my makeup off. This is my favorite go-to foundation really any time of the year, but especially in the summer months if I want my foundation to look flawless and last until I take my makeup off at the end of the day. I wore this on both of my vacations that I took, and one was in Clearwater, Florida. The other was in Gulf Shores, Alabama. And it was really hot and humid there. And the days that I did wear makeup, I wore this. And like I said, it lasted until I took it off in the evening. So definitely a great foundation that's going to last through humidity and sweating and all of that. If you have a really oily skin, this is going to be a great foundation. And if you have... Even when my skin is more on the dry side, I still find that I can use this foundation no problem at all. And I don't find that it looks too drying or anything like that. And I know that they have this as a matte foundation. But for myself, I find this foundation to be more of a semi-matte, almost like a skin-like a skin-finished foundation. It's not overly matte, and it's definitely not like a dewy foundation. So that's kind of like my take on this foundation. And it is a full coverage, like medium to full coverage type of foundation. So, and I'm just blending this out today with my Wet n Wild makeup sponge, and I did dampen this. I will have like all the products that I'm going to be using today listed down in the description box, and I will have like my colors down there. So, but yeah, I just got back on Saturday from my vacation to Gulf Shores, Alabama, and I debated on whether I wanted to do like a video story time like I did with my trip with April, but I just figured I'd pop up like a few pictures in this video and just kind of like briefly mention the trip, just because I mean, we did things, like we went on a dolphin cruise and everything, and that was super fun. But for the most part, we just pretty much just went to the beach and just enjoyed relaxing. So it's not like we really did a ton to talk about necessarily. So, but I did really enjoy going and being there at the beach. So, but yeah, I'm trying to like get back into the swing of things and back into my routines. It's like back into normal life. And the concealer that I have been loving during the summertime, I used this, like I discovered this earlier this year, and I kind of took a break from using it and then I came back to it, but I've just really been loving this. This is the Maybelline Superstay Activewear Concealer, and the shade that I have in this is in 15. So I'm just going to put this here under the eyes. I do find that this has really great coverage. The formula is really thin and it's very long wearing. So I think all of those reasons are the reasons why I really like this concealer. And because it is so long wearing and it's like such a thin consistency, it doesn't settle into the lines or anything. I think that's why I do enjoy this in the summer months, because since it is long wearing, it's going to like hold up through like sweat and humidity and all of that. And then I'm going to take a little bit here on my eyelids, and I'm just going to blend that out. But I do find that since it is a thinner consistency, I can get away with like applying a little bit more of it, and I don't have any issues with it like settling into fine lines or anything like that. And then sometimes I take a little bit more of this concealer down the center of my nose, just like that, just to kind of highlight a little bit and add just a little bit more coverage. And sometimes I take whatever's left and just kind of put it there around my mouth. And then for my setting powder, the L'Oreal Infallible Fresh Wear. I've been loving this, and I know that this powder is like pretty full coverage, so I try to use a really light hand with it. Like, you could use this as like a powder foundation, which I have done that before as well. Obviously, it's not as full coverage as like using a foundation, but it still adds, you know, a decent amount of coverage for just being like a powder. But I just lightly get it on this large powder brush from Real Techniques and just dab it around to just set the foundation. Just enough to kind of get that tackiness out of the skin. And then I like to take one of these triangle sponges, and then I just barely like dab it there in the powder, and then just like barely dab it here underneath the eyes to set the under eye concealer. And I do find that if you have really oily skin, or you know, if you're going to be in a really humid climate, it is very important to set your foundation and concealer, because that is really going to help it last. And then, of course, setting everything at the end with a makeup setting spray is going to make a huge difference. So I will be doing my setting spray here at the end. It's definitely a step I do not skip in the summer when I want my foundation and everything to last. So for the bronzer, what I've been doing is I've been using 2 different shades of bronzers to give my face a little bit more dimension and to look a little bit more bronzed for summertime. So I've been using this e.l.f. contour palette. Like, this is the old packaging. Like, the newer packaging, it just has like a clear lid and you can see like the shades. But I really love the old packaging because I really like this mirror. It's great for travel and everything. Like, it's a really nice large mirror, so it's kind of unfortunate that they stopped making it like this. But I'll just get a little bit of this lighter bronzer on this. This is another large powder brush from Real Techniques. I think this is like their 300 brush, but I'm not for sure if, I don't think they make the 300 brush anymore, but I'll link some similar brushes down below. But just any sort of bronzing brush. And I'll just bronze here on like the hollows of my cheeks, kind of take it up like on the apples of my cheeks a little bit. And honestly, I have not been using any blush. I know that's insane because I know that blush is such a big deal right now, but I've just been liking a really bronzed look. But if, you know, you really enjoy blush, then definitely don't skip that step. But I'm just showing you guys like what I've been doing right now for like my summer makeup routine. And then I'll just take some of that up along the hairline. But I do think like a nice bronzed look is so nice, like so pretty for the summertime. And then I'm going to take a little bit here on my nose. I never do like a lot of nose contouring. I feel like my nose contouring is more of just like nose bronzing, just to bring a little bit of life to my nose. Like sometimes I will get it on like a slightly more precise brush. This is the Morphe M504, and just kind of like blend it in the little like nooks and crannies, like where I can't really get with the bigger fluffier brush. And then I'll take a little bit more of this bronzer here on the jawline. And then another thing that I have been doing, if you really want to keep your eyeshadow lasting, I do highly recommend an eyeshadow primer. Like, I love the Milani eyeshadow primer, so I do recommend that. But if you're not too worried about that, I just will go straight in with like my bronzer now, and I'm just using that Morphe M504 brush. And I'm just gonna blend that bronzer here in the crease. And sometimes too, I'll also go in with a little bit of that setting powder that I used on my face to set like that concealer on my eyelid. Totally forgot to do that step before the bronzer. So I'm just going to do that to the other eye, and then just go in with the bronzer. And then I will take a slightly darker bronzer. So I've been using the Makeup Revolution. This is the makeup bronzer in One Cool. And I'll just apply that lightly to the same area that I applied the first bronzer. I just don't go in quite as heavy with this darker shade. Just enough to add a slight bit of dimension. I guess I'm almost using this darker bronzer as like my blush, and kind of applying it slightly higher up than the other bronzer. And then I'm going to take this up along the hairline, just all in the same spots that I did the first. I mean, I guess if you're not like super bronzy or whatever, you could probably skip using two bronzers, especially if you aren't very tan. You might have a hard time finding like a lighter bronzer and then like a slightly darker bronzer. So just depending on what your skin tone is. And then I'm just gonna go back that. And then I like to go in with this bronzer as well. And sometimes with this, I'll go in with like a slightly more precise crease brush. Not that this one is too, like that much more precise, but it's just like a slightly smaller blending brush than the first one. And I'll just get that darker bronzer, just kind of focus it a little bit more in the crease there. And then for the highlight, so like I said, I've been skipping blush, but if you really enjoy blush, you could go ahead and apply that right after the bronzer. But I'm gonna go in with my highlight, and I feel like I'm saying that about everything. I've really been enjoying this. But the Essence Pure Nude Sunlighter, which this is a little bit darker and more of a golden color than their other one. That's the Essence Pure Nude Highlighter. That one is more champagne colored. So if you don't have much of a tan and this is too dark for you, then I recommend the other one. But if you do have a little bit more of like a bronzy tan, you should be able to get away with using this. So I just like to get some and just apply it there in the cheekbones. But it is such a pretty like golden color. If you did want more of that golden glow, but you know, are a little bit more fair, the Essence Peachy Blossom palette, which I really love this. I really like every shade in this palette. Like, you have 3 different blushes and 2 highlights. This highlight here is lighter for like lighter skin tones, and it's like a golden color, so that's really pretty. or even the highlight shade out of the Essence contour palette. This is more of like a golden color as well. So either one of those would work if you're a little bit more fair and can't use the shade. But I do really like this highlight. It almost gives you like that golden hour glow, which I've been obsessed with. So just there on the cheekbones, on the tip of the nose, a little bit here. And I've actually been taking a little bit of this like here on the temples. Like I've really been going ham with my highlighters lately. And then I totally forgot to do the brows, which I haven't been doing like a ton to my eyebrows, but I've just been brushing them up. And I did, before my trip, I did get my eyebrows laminated. And I will say I don't feel like the lamination holds as well as like getting a lash lift. Like I also got a lash lift and I feel like my eyelashes are still lifted really well. And it's like my eyebrows do kind of hold their shape a little bit better whenever I brush them up. But I just feel like when I look closely at my brows, I have a bunch of like smaller brow hairs that aren't really standing up anymore. They're kind of going to the side. So I just don't really know how well the brow lamination lasts. Like maybe if you get it done more often, maybe it lasts a little bit better, or maybe that's like new growth coming in. I'm not really for sure. But so I haven't really decided if it's like a thing that I would do again in the future, because it was fairly expensive to get it done. So we'll just see. But I have been going in with a brow powder and just lightly filling the underneath side of my brows. So I mean, like whatever type of brow product you like to use, if you'd rather use a pencil or whatever. But I've just been lightly just filling in the bottom part and just kind of taking whatever's left and just sort of pulling it up into the brow just to give it a little bit more shape here underneath. But honestly, like my brows are fairly thick. I don't really need to fill them in because I know that the look these days is a little bit more sparse on the brows, like not having like a super filled in brow. But I still love bold brows, probably just because I have bolder brows in general. My natural brows are just kind of bold. Okay, and then for the highlight, I have been putting this on like my brow bone highlight as well. That same highlight that I used on my cheekbones. And then a little bit here in the inner corner. And then before I do my lips and my lashes, I'm going to go ahead and mist my face with my makeup setting spray. And like I said, this is a must if you really want your foundation and everything to last really well. So I'm just going to spray this. So I did buy a new mascara and I wanted to wait and use this on camera like first with you guys just to get like my initial thoughts. But this is the Maybelline Lash Sensational Firework mascara and I got the shade Blackest Black. I haven't seen anybody review this mascara, so I'm going in this completely like no opinions about it. But I really like the Lash Sensational, just like the original one. And I also like the Sky High Lash Sensational. So I'm hoping that I will also like this mascara. So this is what the tube looks like. And then this is the wand. It almost kind of reminds me of like Lash Blast or something like that. Or I know Maybelline had the Rocket mascara. It's kind of that sort of wand. It's a rubberized, thicker kind of wand. And I'm like, what is the claim on this? 360 lash by lash impact full flare. So I think this mascara is supposed to be a like separating and volumizing type of mascara, at least the way that it was described. It feels like a slightly wet formula. Not like super wet though, but kind of. I mean, it's separating fairly well, except for like out here. I feel like my lashes are kind of starting to clump a little. I feel like with a lot of mascaras, it's really hard to know how you feel about them the very first time that you use them. It's like you don't really get the full, like your full thoughts on them until you've been using the mascara for a little bit. I wouldn't necessarily say that this mascara is extremely separating. And I'm probably going to use a slightly different mascara to kind of comb through my lashes. I think I might just use the regular Lash Sensational to kind of comb through, hopefully. Like, I haven't really even been wearing mascara very much, so I feel like sometimes mascaras almost look too clumpy because I've gotten so used to seeing myself without really wearing mascara. But I will say, I do think that that mascara is fairly volumizing. Just need to use it a little bit more. For me, nothing beats the original Lash Sensational and like the Sky High mascaras from Maybelline. Those are my two very favorite mascaras. And then I'm going to take just a little bit of mascara here at my lower lashes. If you have issues with like mascara smudging, then I would recommend not putting it on your lower lashes. Especially like if you're gonna be sweating a lot. So like if I know I'm gonna be outside and it's gonna be really humid, I'm not gonna put mascara on my lower lashes. Okay, and then my favorite lip products right now are these Covergirl Lip Stains. The Outlast Lip Stains. I first picked up the pink one, and I actually picked up the Atomic Love and Epic, and I fell in love with these two, and then I went back and purchased as many of them as I could. I went to Meijer and purchased like a bunch of the other ones. I got Tangelo, which is supposed to be like an orange, but honestly it just looks red on me. It's just like a slightly brighter red. And then I purchased a bunch of like more of the natural kind of neutral colors, which I have not really worn a lot of these too much yet, just because I've really been into brighter colors right now with it being summer and everything. So I will have to keep you guys posted on what I think of the more natural colored ones. But this one here in Epic, I've really been enjoying this. And it's so funny because I'm not normally the type of person that wears like hot pink lipstick, but something about this shade of pink I really like. So I'm just going to remove the lip conditioner that I had on my lips. And I love the tips on these. I think I mentioned this in one of my other videos, but I just like how it's really precise, and so you can use it as like a lip liner at first. So I just go in at first and just line the lips. Sometimes when you're like halfway through, you have to put the cap back on and kind of like shake the product down. The only thing about these, I feel like you have to store them with like the tip down like this to keep like the product down in the tip, and so it doesn't get like dried out or anything. But once I get it filled in real good, I'll let that dry completely down before I put anything over top of it, because I have found that if you go and put like a gloss over top of this before it's completely dried down on your lips, it has a tendency to not really last as long. So I'll usually just let it dry completely down, and then, you know, maybe several hours later, I'll top it with like a lip oil or a lot of times I'll use like these Dior like lip balms and I'll just like reapply over it because these do have a little bit of a tint, so it kind of like revives the lip tint. Now if you eat something that has a lot of oil in it, it's gonna take off a lot of the tint. But I have found that if you're not eating something super oily, and if you've waited, you know, several hours and just had this on your lips for a little bit and had it, you know, dry down, I do find that it lasts a little bit longer like that. So, and I have found that it wears off fairly evenly. I mean, you're gonna kind of have a little bit more of a lip line. It kind of wears off the center of your lips first, but I don't find it to look super weird as it wears off, and I really like it as just like a nice base to put gloss or other lip products over top of throughout the day. Like when I was at the beach, I would wear, like once this dried down, I would put one of those SPF lip balms over top of it, and I really liked it like that. So I've really been enjoying these, and honestly, I wish that they would come out with some more bright colors in this. Like, I really want like a true orange, because like I said, the one that's supposed to be an orange tends to just look kind of red. Like if I was to swatch these on the back of my hand so you can see what they look like. See, this is Tangelo, I think is how you pronounce it. Yeah, Tangelo, yeah. So, I mean, it looks kind of orange there, but honestly, once you get it on, it just looks red. Maybe it's just my coloring makes it look red. I'm not for sure. But Atomic Love is, you know, supposed to be a red, and that looks red on me. So, in some ways, I feel like Atomic Love almost looks more orange than the one that's supposed to be orange. So, you know, I wish that they had a few other brighter ones. Like I just swatched Epic so you could see it next to the two red colors. And then all of those other shades are very like neutral. So been loving this product. So I kind of want to top it with a lip oil or something just so you can see what it looks like when you put like a gloss over top of it. So I'm going to put some of the Maybelline Lip Lifter Gloss in Bubblegum over top of it. I would normally kind of wait a little bit longer just to make sure that was going to stay on really well, but just for the sake of the video. But it looks really pretty with like gloss or balms over top of it, but you'll have to let us know down in the comments if you have some tips or makeup tricks that you do to help your makeup last longer in the summer months, or like what some of your favorite summer makeup products are right now. Let us know, or let us know down in the comments. But I hope that you guys have a great day. Thank you for watching till the end of this video, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye-bye. Mwah.
Shouldn't doubt yourself, 'cause you're a work of art.